All right, just to recap, we've got a box in front of us. We've got our shape art on there. We created a vanishing point. Vanishing point we're going to continue to use, by the way, as well. So we're going to move forward. We're going to add some more things to this cell phone box, and they're going to be done a little bit differently. In this particular case, we're ready to add a label to the box, and the label was created with an Adobe Illustrator package. Basically it's a vector graphic is what you got coming in. So considering it's a vector and it's not a rasterized image, we're going to handle this a little bit different. I'm going to go into File, and typically we would do Open at this point to open up a graphic. But in this particular case, I'm going to go down about halfway to 2/3 of the way down the menu, and I'm going to use the command called Place. So I click on that, and it says, okay, which file do you want to place in there? We're basically going to grab the ZXTEL logo right here, the AI file, Adobe Illustrator. And keep in mind, this is a vector image that was created with lines, curves, and color. So there is no bitmap piece to this whatsoever. So I click on ZXTEL logo, I say place. And it comes up with the vectored image, and I've got some options up here. It says place PDF, which is fine. It's just saying that's a vector file format. We are going to select the page command, which it already comes up to. Everything in here is fine. Crop to bounding box, that's fine. Thumbnail small. So I go ahead and I click OK, and you'll see the logo placed, and you have transformation handles on this immediately. This is just letting you know that it's pretty much a smart object, which again is a vector image. We are going to make sure we put this in the right place, but before we do it, I don't like the fact that it's black, so we're going to change that to white. I'm just checking my book here real quick to make sure I got what I'm looking for. I'm going to move this up into the box, and notice it's a little bit bigger than what we need. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I'm going to drag on that handle a little bit, and I want the label to be roughly the width of the front panel of the box. So I'm going to shrink that up. Just going to keep shrinking it up, holding down the Shift key to keep it proportional, and I'm pretty good right there. I'll make it just a little bit smaller, just so that I know it'll fit in the box. Once I've got it sized correctly, I'm going to go ahead and hit the Enter key to get out of that little transform mode. You'll note the thumbnail over here is a smart object. That's exactly what a smart object thumbnail looks like, where you've got some images in the bottom right corner. So we're kind of done with it being a smart layer. So we're going to need to rasterize this. In essence, rasterize is taking something that's a vector image and making it a rasterize to create pixels out of it, which will make it a rasterized image. So I'm going to right click on that layer, and I'm going to say rasterize layer. So now what we have done is we took the vector pieces out of it, and now we transform the vector information from the layer into pixel information, which is the difference between a vector and a rasterized image. So we're good to go there. I'm actually going to I'm going to control click on the thumbnail, which basically highlights what's in the layer, and I don't like the black. We're going to change the black, so I'm going to go up to Image, Adjustments, and I want to invert. Keep in mind, I look over at the keyboard shortcuts. Inverting is Control-I. The next time we do this, we're going to do this a couple of times to a couple of pieces. So the next time I do this, I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut instead, but understand I can still invert from the Adjustments panel. So I go Adjustments, Invert. So it's going to change the black to like a gray, which is good. We're good there. And then we're actually going to place this onto the vanishing point. So while I've got it highlighted, if you remember the process, I'm going to deselect for now, and I'll tell you why in a second. I've run into problems in the past where if I select this and I cut just from the letters and I say Control X and cut, not bad. We used to get like a little gray exterior line out here when we did that. So if you want to do it that way, it's fine. I'm going to step back and show the other way I've done this before. If I deselect, I can also do the same thing with select and select all like we did with the whole label. And then if I cut, as long as I'm on the ZXTEL logo over here, and now I cut, does the same thing, cuts the whole layer right out. Ready to put it on the vanishing point. So I'm going to Filter and going over to Vanishing Point. Click off. I don't need the panels highlighted. I am going to Control V paste, and you'll notice it shows up top. This is the piece where you probably didn't catch it when I did the label piece, but here's a very important piece that I want you to remember. Here's where we're going to drag this thing onto the vanishing point. And instead of just popping it onto the box from here, if I pop it on the box from here, actually it's still working out pretty well. Again, I want you, in any regard, I want you to drag it down the front and pull it up the front of the box. It's probably the best way to go. And we're going to put it right up on the very top of the box and leave it right there. So we've got it layered out on the vanishing point. Most boxes as well have the title at the top, but you also have the title on the very top of the box too. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create right in this vanishing point. We are going to make another copy of this ZXTEL logo. So while it's selected, I am going to hit Control. Let's see. Wait a minute. We put that in there. We've pasted. All right, so in order to get a copy of this up on top of the box, I'm going to keep my hand down on the Alt key, and I'm going to drag from one right up on top, and basically it's making a copy of that label. And let's see, I want to put this right smack dab in the middle of the top of the box. Again, holding down the Alt key and dragging on the layer will duplicate the layer. And I've done that completely within the vanishing point, so I'm good to go there. I got both my layers. I can get out of the vanishing point. I click OK. And you'll notice both of those layers are on the same layer on our original picture. We're going to go ahead and kind of make the text stand out a little bit. So we're going to add a layer style to that. Make sure you're on the ZXTEL logo. Going to go to layer style. We're actually going to bevel and emboss. Let me move this down so you can see kind of what it does to the layers. So we're beveling and emboss, kind of makes it stand out. And we're also, all of these measurements are fine. You can keep those right where they need to be, because that's looking pretty good. And the other thing I'm going to do, let's see, we're looking at a drop shadow too. We are probably, no, I'm just going, I guess, what would a drop shadow look? Let's see what a drop shadow looks like. Actually, I like the drop shadow on there. So let's go ahead and add a drop shadow with all of the default numbers as well. Perfect. We're okay there. Your effects panel comes up on the layers, and it lists the effects that are on that layer, but those two pieces of text right there. So we're looking good there. We're going to add another piece in here. We're going to put some information on the side panel, so that as well as a vector image. So I'm going to go to File, Place, and the thing we want to open up here now is Sidebox Copy. And you'll see there's some text and there's like a little graph in there, and I click OK. And there's your sidebox copy. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Obviously, we need to shrink this a little bit too big, so I'm going to shrink it down. What I'm going to try to do is place this onto the side, so I'm going to have to shrink this down quite a bit. And I'm going to make sure that it's small enough where it's going to fit onto the side. So I'm going to change that right there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. So let me zoom in one more time. Not going to be good for me. Good. Make this a little bit bigger on my screen so I can see the whole side box copy. Perfect. So the minute I got it sized kind of close to where I want it, I'm going to hit the Enter key to get out of transform mode, or I'm going to hit the check mark up here. Either one kicks me out of transform mode. And if you notice, I've got a sidebox copy layer on here too. So before we make any changes to it, we are going to we need to rasterize this as well. So I'm going to right click on that sidebox copy, and I'm going to rasterize layer. And again, transfers it from a vector image to a rastered image, going from lines and geometry to pixel color. So there we go. What I want to do first is, you notice the black text. Everything's coming in as black text. And what I did with the ZXTEL logo at the top, I inverted to change it to a lighter color. We're going to do the same thing here, but we're going to do it piece by piece, because if I do this whole piece and invert it, the graph is going to look really, really funky. So I'm going to grab a selection tool. Let's grab probably the rectangular marquee will work. And I want you to drag a rectangular selection just over the top paragraph. So that's selecting that piece of that layer. I want you to go down underneath the graph, and I want you to hold the Shift key. Basically, what does the Shift key do? We're adding to the selection that we're creating. And I'm going to drag a selection rectangle around the bottom part. So if I go back and decide and try to explain what happened, I am on this layer. I am selecting just this piece of that layer and just this piece of the bottom part. So now when I go to invert, which if you remember from the previous things, Control-I on the keyboard, it turns just what I've selected. It turns the black into white, which is in essence what I want to have happen. I'm going to click off and deselect. So we've got from black to white, and I'm going to go ahead and add that into the vanishing point. So I'm still on the side box copy. I go to edit, select all. I'm sorry, select all, or Control-A on the keyboard. And you don't see it because I'm zoomed right in. But let me zoom out and you'll see zoom fit on screen. We'll go actual, no, let's go the other way. We'll go zoom out. So you see the selection rectangle is around, but in reality, it's only really grabbing that layer. Let me zoom out one more time. In reality, it's only grabbing that layer. So I am going to Control-X, cut it out of there. It's gone. Go to Filter, Vanishing Point. Click off, Control-V. And you'll notice you see a little bit of the text. That's fine. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come down, pull it over, up on the front, and then slide it over to the side of the box. You'll notice it's a little bit big. That's okay. So I'm going to place it in the top right corner, or I'm sorry, top left corner. And I'm going to hit Control-T. And if you don't know what Control-T does, keep in mind I'm in the vanishing point right here. If you don't know what Control-T is on the previous menu, the problem with vanishing point is it has no menus in here. That does not necessarily mean you can't do anything. I hit Control-T and you'll notice my transform tool is right up here. Okay, I could have come over and clicked the transform tool, but I wanted you to understand that all of your keyboard shortcuts are active, and just because you don't see menus up here with certain commands, there are some pieces that you can create or that you can use that will allow you to work within the vanishing point. So I'm in free transform mode, and the reason I did that is so that now I can shrink the side panel so it fits perfectly. I'm holding down the Shift key to keep it proportional, and I'm going to shrink down that panel so it fits nicely on the side. Now I need to hit the Enter key, commit the transforms, and that kicks me out, and I'm back out into the original shape. I'm actually going to try to, let's see if I move that side box copy. I'm going to slide that up just a little bit so it's more in the middle of the box. All right, so we got our side copy in there. We're good to go there. We actually have one more piece we got to place in here. So we'll go through the same process. I'm going to go to File and Place. And the last piece we haven't done is this Special Offer Adobe Illustrator file, which is just like a little star image. Again, that's a vectored image. So I click OK. I'm going to shrink that down, hold the Shift key, shrink that down a little bit. Because basically this one is going to fit right in here. So I want to kind of eye it, make it small enough so it's going to fit in there. That should do it right there. A little bit smaller. Good. Get out. I'm going to hit Enter. Get out of transform mode. I need to rasterize it. So I'm going to right click on the layer and rasterize layer. So I've got Special Offer right there. Now I'm going to hit Control-A. Selects the whole piece, but since I'm on this layer, it's only selecting the Special Offer star. And I'm going to cut. Oops. Step back out of there. Sorry about that. Hit the right key. I'll be all right. Control-X. Filter. Vanishing point. Control-V. Go down and slide it up the front. Oh, I was close. Perfect. And again, if you get to a point where this is too big for you, or if it's covering some of the phone, we can change that when we go back. We can change it here and transform, or we can go back to the original. I click OK. And you can free transform that piece as well. So let me, we'll scale it. Hold down the Shift key, and we'll make it a little bit smaller. Hit Enter, and you're out. Perfect. We've got our box labeled right out. We're going to do some other things in the next layer in the next lesson with adjustment layers and comps and that kind of thing. But at least that gets you to the point where we're good to go on the box itself. See you in a bit.